So welcome back to a new Game Stuff episode, and this is some of the stuff I've picked up in the last few months, and I wanted to show you guys it. The first thing I want to show is the Outrun Record Vinyl, and this just showed up about a week and a half ago, and I'm going to do a little unboxing here and see what we have. And great classic songs here. Magical Sound Shower, Passing Breeze, Splash Wave. So let's see what we got. Oh, beautiful stuff. That's great, isn't it? Oh, that's really good. And back. Oh, that's really nice. There's some more of the artwork. Great stuff. And oh, look at that vinyl. Isn't that awesome? So very, very 80s. That's how I take that. That is so nice. It's so cool. Yeah, I really love supporting, for anybody who doesn't know, Outrun is an old racing game by Yu Suzuki back in the 80s. And it has some real symbolic music, and a lot of us really, really enjoy the music of Outrun, and it's kind of followed us over the years, and to get a vinyl record of it is pretty awesome. So, and I believe they still have them over there if you want to check it out, datadiscs.com. And the game that I really want to talk about today is the elephant in the room at this point, and that is No Man's Sky. And I want to thank Sony for sending me over a review copy. I got the review copy the same time as the game went live, so I didn't get to play it for a little bit longer than anybody else. It launched all at the same time. And I'm going to say something that I've never said. I've never talked about No Man's Sky. I've kept it all bottled in. I am one of the few people that was not looking forward to No Man's Sky at all. What they were promising and what they were showing, I really was like, this game is getting a case of the overhypedness. And everybody around me, all of my friends, everybody's like, oh my god, No Man's Sky, it's going to be incredible, going to all these different planets and blah, blah, blah. And I was very, very, kind of low-key about it. I was just like, oh yeah, and I didn't really talk to a lot of people about it. I was like, this game can't do all of what it's promising, as much as Destiny couldn't do all of what it was promising. And so I was just kind of like, I had an attitude like, well, you know, you're in a ship and you'll go to different planets and stuff like that, but it's not going to be mind-blowing. It's not going to be that good. You know, that's what I was thinking. I started to play the game with very low expectations. I'm like, oh, you know, it's going to be that type of game. And I think a lot of people are going in expecting it to change their lives. They're expecting a lot more than what the game really is. The game is a crafting game. That is what the core gameplay is. That is what you do. That is what the entire purpose of the game is about. Collecting minerals, combining them, creating different kinds of metals, different instruments for your ship, and vice versa, different weapons and all of that. Obviously, you can explore a gigantic universe. Nobody could do it all. It's impossible, and nor would you want to do it all. It's really an exploration game on your own time, a crafting exploration game. So you can go through space, you can go to different planets, and I think this game has got a case of the overhyped, and I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I liked it quite a lot. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. And I think that's the thing, is it's really nice to be in a world where you're not overhyped for things. Great example, Kim loves the X-Men movies. I don't mind them. So for her birthday, she went to see X-Men Apocalypse, and I was like, sure, if it's your birthday, of course we'll go see it. But I really low expectations. Went in, I love the movie. Everybody I know hates it. I like the movie a lot, and I think it's because I went in with such low expectations. And with No Man's Sky is no exception. I really went in saying, no, I'm not expecting a lot for it. I don't think it can change my life, nor do I expect it to. It's going to be a crafting game, and I hope that aspect is fun. And it is. I love going around the planets, shooting things and gathering items, and the exploration of it all, and finding an abandoned cave, going in there. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with the game. The inventory system is a little bit annoying. It's very Resident Evil-ish, you know, and you only have a short amount of space for a lot of items that you're collecting and all that. So it's a lot of micromanaging and stuff like that. But No Man's Sky is to me, it's a good game. but with a case of overhype. And I think a lot of times we can probably blame ourselves for that. In a lot of ways, like some of my friends were talking about the game as though it was gonna reinvent the wheel. And I was like, it's only a video game, man. It's only a crafting game, dude. Keep it down. And yeah, so I personally enjoy No Man's Sky. Now, another game that I had to download, and I've been putting it off, because I'm like, man, it's so expensive. It's so expensive in Canada. It's still like in the $60 range. And that is Darius Burst. I love the Darius games. First of all, beyond anything, I used to play the old 3-screened arcade back in the 90s, and I loved that game. And I went to a local arcade and saw Darius Burst there, and I went in and it was like reliving those 3-screen arcades from the 80s. How does that translate to a normal game? And it's a side view shooter for anybody who doesn't know. Wonderful stuff, man. I love Darius. There's just something about the design aesthetics. I like the enemies. I like the ship design. I just like it all. I always have. I love the music. The music has always been something that I actually have Darius music on CD in the other room. I'm a huge fan, and this game does not disappoint. This game it has so much content within it. It has a way that you can go through, in an arcade mode and just play it the normal way, or you can explore mode, or the great one, and I've been trying to do it for a little bit now, is to get some friends over to play, everybody on the screen at the same time. That would be awesome. If I can ever do a let's play, getting myself and Rob and everybody over to play that would be great. So I like the game a lot. Also, you can switch the skins in it. You can buy, so it's downloadable, of course, but you can get Fantasy Zone skins. And being an old school Sega fan myself, to get Opa Opa as your playable ship, oh my god, yeah. And I had a lot more fun with that than I should have, but I am a real old school fan, and I do like side view shooters. They're a huge one for me. So is it worth it? Yeah, I like the game a lot. I think it's great, especially the way you can go super widescreen with it. I love it. Now, when I was down in Arizona at the Game On Expo, I met a lot of great people, and one guy came out to me, Dan, and he's like, "Come by my booth. I have a game for you." And I'm like, "No, dude." I said, I don't need anything. I'm totally good." And he's like, "No, I really want to give you this game." And it's so unusual. He gave me Midnight Resistance on the Sega Genesis. For anybody who doesn't know, it's this kind of a side view, Contra-style shooting game, military-esque game. I had forgotten all about this game. It's an arcade game. And I used to play this on the Genesis back in the day. And it was like, it's kind of cool. I thanked him so much for giving me the game. He wouldn't let me go without taking it. And it's one of those things that I really appreciated after the fact. I thought, wow, that's a game that I wouldn't really think about, actively searching for, but it's so cool that I was able to grab this off him. I really want to thank him again for giving me a copy of Midnight Resistance and brought back a lot of real old memories for me. Speaking of real old memories, Data East Arcade Classics by Hardcore Gaming 101. This is the company that brought you the 200 best video games of all time. Sega Classics, Konami Shooters, Castlevania. Yeah, they're terrible people over there. How dare they give this awesome retro fix? And Data East Arcade Classics is no different. They have some great stuff on Bloody Wolf and never mind, Bad Dudes and all that great stuff. And I flipped through this earlier today, and I was just like, oh my god, there's so much incredible reading in here, and there's so many Karnov's Revenge, Windjammers, oh my god. There's so much cool stuff in here. So if you've been collecting all of their books, definitely pick up this. It's on Amazon. It's able to be, bought on there, and high recommendation for that. I love completing my collection of old school Hardcore Gaming 101 books. Now, there was a Kickstarter, oh my god, it's a long time ago now, by Anime Ego. Quite literally one of my favorite old school companies, because they released that Problem Crisis, all the stuff I loved. Now, when I mentioned this in when I turned 21 video, when I turned 21, I came back from England, I was starving for anime, I had a different perspective on anime, life and video games. It was really my new religion. And to start off my new religion, I went to my local anime store, Anime Janai, and there was this anime called Otaku No Video. And otaku means, an obsessive fan. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And it's really the story of Gainax. It's a fictitious story about a couple of friends in the 80s. One of them is an obsessive anime fan in the 80s. The other is not. He's a tennis player with his girlfriend. And the story is this. I'm just giving you the overview. The guy who plays tennis bumps into his old friend from high school. And he notices that his friend is an otaku. He's like really obsessed with anime and Japanese animation. Absolutely obsessed. And he's a tennis player. He's not really... He's like, oh, we had a lot of good times in high school. And he gets very nostalgic. And his friend is like, yeah, you got to come hang out with us. You got to... And his friend is like a drug pusher of anime in the 80s. And it's using all the anime from back then. So it's like the show Captain Harlock and Macross. And man, it is such a great anime that I can't even tell you. So what the story is about is about this guy, he's a tennis player, his slow decline into anime and how his life changes and how it gets worse and incredible. It's awesome. And as, for me coming back when I was 21, I really resonated with Otaku No Video. I resonated with the character. I felt like I was coming back into anime, and sometimes like the way the world views an anime fan is very, very low, and this anime tackles that quite a lot. And it also has a lot of live action sequences interviewing people, and it's really, really funny. And there's not a lot of animes that I'm like, oh, you must see this, but I highly, highly recommend Otaku No Video. And so I had that original VHS tape, watched the living crap out of it, and then years ago I bought the DVD. Now, quite a while ago now, they did a Kickstarter for a Blu-ray version. Oh my god, it was like, when I found that out, it was just like the Kickstarter for Bubblegum Crisis. There's a small tear, because there's some animes that I'm like, god, that would be unreal. And what's awesome is, it arrived the other day. And let's have a see what's in the box. Here we go. Here's a patch of... I believe her name's Misty May, if memory serves me right. She is the mascot in the anime. And I won't tell you. I'm not giving you any spoilers in case you want to see this anime. Another little patch going on here. And is this a Misty May little figurine? I think that is. So we get that, and then we get the Blu-ray. And here, look at this. This is so cool. What's awesome in the anime, both the friends at one point get like they're looking for jobs, regular salary jobs, and they're having a hard time, and they give up and say, "Forget this. We're just gonna, we're just gonna do anime." You know what I mean? Anime will be our job. Anime will be our life, and then they pursue it, and it's really great. Oh, GP, that's the name of the company. Their fictitious company in it. And it comes with a really great art book here, and all the art is by Kenichi Sanada, one of the legendary artists from Japan, a real 80s guy who did all all the work in Gal Force and stuff like that, and a huge fan of his work. And so you get character designs in the booklets here, a lot of the storyboarding. I really want to look at the storyboarding stuff later, because I really theoretically have the movie memorized. If I think back, I can sing the theme song in Japanese. I'm not doing that for you here. I'm not going to embarrass myself. But that's how much I really like it. And so here is the Blu-ray itself. And yeah, look at this. There's so much stuff going on here. This is holy. Look at this. Gotta be very careful. You got a fold out there. So, oh, it's an English adaptation of the comic. That's so cool. I guess he did a manga version of it. That's so neat. What is this? Get it. I'm gonna be very careful. There we go. Misty May. I hope her name's Misty May. I remember it being Misty May from a long time ago. That is really great. That is really great. I like that. There's so much I could talk about with Otaku No Video. And I have plans this week with Kim to sit down and to watch this anime and to explain to her a lot of what it was like, you know, the 80s anime and what it was like. And, you know, because she grew up in a time where anime is completely acceptable. You know, it's like she grew up with Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. That's a different generation. My generation was shamed for like an anime, but honestly, a high recommendation. And you can still get this Blu-ray, I believe, from the Anime Ego website, or check on Kickstarter for Otaku No Video. I believe so. I believe you can still pick this up, and there's a lot of you know, recommendations I can give, but this is one that I want to give, and this is one that I think is a true classic of anime. It's so much fun. Oh my god, when they go cell hunting in the middle of the night while they're waiting for Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, that's a classic scene. Wow, okay, we're getting there. There's still a few more things. The Game Chasers. When I was down at the Game On Expo, they gave me their latest number 3 DVD, and I was told to watch the extra video that they did on here. It's supposed to be hilarious, so that is something I'm going to check out. It's exclusive to this box set, and Billy does such a good job on this box set stuff. It's really, really nice. So I will open that up very, very soon. And another friend of mine did a movie. Yeah, Joel Valley did a movie. He just created his own movie. It's unbelievable. From experience making my own movie, I know the hardships he went through, but he had a little bit more of a budget, and he went off to make this movie, A Beautiful Prison. And he gave me a copy of this, the Game On Expo, and he's like, John, just please watch my movie. He just wanted me to watch it. He just wanted me to see it because he'd spent so much time working on it. It's a very independent movie. Great story, very intense, there's a lot of genres in this movie, and it all comes together really, really well, and I was impressed. Making my own movie as well, I really appreciate people doing their own films, and I'll always try to support them whenever I can. Independent movie making is hard. It will kill you. It's not a major you know, motion picture from the studio, so I really respect Joel for making this movie and for giving me a copy of Beautiful Prison, a beautiful movie. Here's a couple of video game things here. Saru Morrow, I dropped by his booth and I saw his game, which was really cool. Henshin Engine, a PC Engine game that's coming out on the TurboGrafx and the PC Engine in 2017. I think he's doing a Kickstarter for it in the future. While I was at his booth, he gave me these pins that he had made. Oh, these are so nice. These are so nice. I'm going to get like one of my black shirts and definitely put the Neo Geo ones on, or even the Mega Drive ones. And oh, look at these classic Neo Geo. This is so awesome. Really nicely packaged. So I want to thank Saru Morrow for giving me these. I really appreciate them. Now, when I was down there, I was like, I got to get Kim something. And I looked all around, and I went to a Perler Bead stall by this girl run by Mel Paradise, I believe her name is. But I was looking and I saw this slime, and I'm like, oh wow. And she's like, oh, how do you want it? Do you want it as a pin, as a bracelet, or a necklace? I'm like, a necklace. So she did this really great little necklace, and I gave this to Kim, and she thought it was great. I'm like, listen, I got to show this a new Game Stuff episode because it's so nicely done. And this Mel girl also made this. Look at this. Opa, how much I love you. And I think this is a couple of bucks that I'm like, I said, oh, I gotta have that. And she's like, oh, do you want it on a keychain or anything like that? And I'm like, nope, just how it is. I love this. And I might put a little magnet on it and put it on the fridge. And our fridge is getting full of Perler Beads. It's really, really nice. And how I'll end off today is with some Marvel graphic novels. Since I did my 80s comic book episode, you know, looking back at my comics, a lot of old memories opened up for me, and a lot of things that I'd forgotten about came back to me. And back in like 1984 to 87, Marvel was releasing graphic novels. Now that you all now would be like, well, of course. But no, the interesting thing was these were major events back in 84 to 87 because we really just had regular comic books. That was all there was. But something was changing within the comic book scene. And that was Heavy Metal, a magazine, which was kind of like an adult cartoon illustrated magazine with many different stories running within it, was becoming very popular with younger people. Very popular, and it was very adult, a lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of sex. Younger guys loved it. I know I did. That was great. So Marvel started releasing their Marvel graphic novel line, and they would release a lot of superhero stuff that was standard superhero stuff, but they released a lot of other stories that were very adult in nature, and very intense in nature, with nudity and stuff like that, which was, I know you got to understand, in 1984 that was a big deal for Marvel to do. Marvel didn't do that before that with the comics code, right? So I had a lot of memories lately. I'm going like crazy. A lot of memories are going on in the old brain here. And I remember being in 84, 85, 86, going into a comic book store and seeing these graphic novels, these ones here, and I would flip through them, and I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but they were $6.95 Canadian, and I could get 7 comic books for that price then. I know, I become such an old man. It's like, back in my days, for $7 you could get 7 comics. But that's kind of how it was going back then. So I never was able to own any of these, and I was on eBay and I saw these went for a great price. I mean, really cheap. So I was like, bang, 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 bang. I grabbed them all. So first up is like sort of the Swashbucklers. It's really pirates in an alternate Earth dimension with aliens. That kind of sums it up. This one. Now, this seemed a lot cooler to me as a kid. It was called the Aladdin Effect. And I remember seeing the Aladdin Effect in comic book stores thinking, oh my god, this is an important story because it's a graphic novel, so it must be important. And it's just about a girl who manifests superheroes in her mind and all that kind of stuff. It's a very simple story. The artwork is okay-ish. My memory was much better than the actual book. Here we go. The Super Boxers, about boxers in the future. That's really what's about. It follows one guy and, kind of fighting against the company, corporation and stuff like that. The most memorable thing is the Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Now, lately I've been talking about Bill Sienkiewicz a lot. Memories of this guy and his artwork has come back to me like nothing else. Here we go. This was one of the big ones that I got. Lots of memory. I was a huge Daredevil fan in 1985, 1986, and 87. Those years. Daredevil by Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz, and all I can say is look at this artwork. I don't see artwork like this too much anymore. There's not many artists that are as good as Bill. I mean, like, it's wonderful stuff. So this is on my list of, to read. This was a great combination of, Elektra, and Daredevil, Elektra, Frank Miller, Bill Sienkiewicz. It's all as one, right? So all these characters were tied into one. Really great stuff. Now, I was also a big fan of Rick Veitch. Everybody's like, who the fuck is who's Rick Veitch? Rick Veitch is one of my favorite 80s, early 90s comic book artists. He did a lot of stuff in Epic Illustrated. Epic Illustrated was a fantasy magazine that was like Heavy Metal, that was by Marvel at that time. Everybody forgets this. And Rick Veitch did a lot of independent stuff, and I followed everything he did. If I saw the name Rick Veitch, I was in. And here's something that I never read. It's called Heartburst, and look at some of this artwork. His artwork really stood out for me, and I've mentioned before he did The One. It was called The One, and a superhero comic, with Russia versus America, and some how can I even describe it? Like, other elements that are just absolutely, totally insane. I mean, The One is a crazy comic book, psychedelic comic book. I think that's the best way I could say. And Heartburst, I remember flipping through this in a comic book store and just being in awe of it, going, oh my god, I hope one day I can afford this. Or was it $5.95? Hey, that's 6 comic books. And I never was able to pick this up. But I did recently, and I got it for a good price too, really good price. Now, almost going to end with this. Back in, this is 84, 85, I went into a comic book, or even 86, I went into a comic book store, and I saw this up on the shelf, and I was like, that cover. And here, isn't this beautiful? I found my original comic I drew. I saw this comic, graphic novel in a store, and I drew my own version of it. And inside is a hodgepodge of many, many things. It's really unusual. It's just me being weird as a kid. But the cover, Revenge of the Monolith, how cool it was to get the real Revenge of the Monolith. And it's about a guy who uses some Egyptian kind of powers, and he turns into this giant monolith and destroys the city, kind of like a Godzilla thing. And how all the superheroes, Spider-Man and Captain America, Thor, and the Fantastic Four, they all get together and obviously put a stop to this. But this was like a really big deal. Like, this was really exciting back then. Really exciting, the size of it and all that, and really happy to get that. And I was able to also pick up 2010. I remember buying this in 1985 out of a local Pharmasave and the magazine rack, and there'd be the comic rack, and then there'd be, once in a while, you'd get a Marvel super special and based on a movie, so you'd get something like Dune, or maybe something like Big Trouble in China, Buckaroo Banzai. And one day I went there, and there was this, and I read this comic adaptation of the movie 2010 before the movie. I'd even seen the movie, and I didn't see the movie for maybe about another year. But I absolutely adored this comic, and I've long since lost it, or it's really wrecked up and destroyed, or it was missing its cover, and I had to own this. And I watched the movie 2010 recently, and it's a really good movie. It really stacks up awesomely over so much time. So, guys, that is my new Game Stuff episode. So, anyways, guys, until next time.